All right, I am live on two different platforms. Stop it. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rotate it because I don't trust this thing. It acts real funny. Y'all excuse my shirt. I got paint on my shirt. But I wanted to talk a few minutes, and I hope I'm coming out clear enough. I really do. I wanted to talk a few minutes about something that's going on. It won't take long, I don't think. If it does, so what? I mean, you listen or you don't listen. A lot of people right now are feeling very depressed. Some people are feeling very anxious. Some people are feeling lightheaded. Some people have sinus infections, or your sinuses are draining. Some people, your gout is acting up, your arthritis is acting up. Some of us are feeling very emotional. You're crying one minute, you're happy the next minute. Some of us are feeling like the space around us is so empty that you can literally hear yourself talking to yourself. Some of us are feeling afraid, like there's someone around us, like you can feel another presence next to you at this point. Some of us have been feeling this since the beginning of February. I want to relate to you how God operates. And I want to relate to you the disconnection we had with the God force and why we are so disappointed. The post right now, the spirit on Facebook is very negative. There's a negative spirit on social media. People are saying they don't need friends. They expected to have these friends that disappointed them. People are liars. You can't trust men. You can't trust women. Everything is just a negative vibe around social media. The energy from that, when you're on it, the energy from it can cause you to feel depressed or discombobulated for a time until you get off of it. Then you jump back on it thinking that you're going to feel better, but you never do. I want to talk a few minutes about God. And I want us to try to see God as someone who is inside of us, not something that is unattainable, not something that just the minister has or the people who perceive themselves as holy have or the rich people say that they have, but something that we all can reach and grab because it's right in us. So I want us to see that first. Then I want to address how we're feeling and why we're feeling that way. And I want you to see how God connected us with him, how we were forced to disconnect, but now at this point, how we just disconnect because we want to. First of all, on my hat, this says Genome. That is the Adenka symbol for only God, but God, no other than God. God first. Everything surrounded by the idea, the thought of God. This is Genome. It is a fashion brand that I created some time ago. This one in particular has the shirt to go with it. That's the Genome shirt. And I try to do everything from a spiritual, enlightened point of view. Behind me are the Strive shirts. I also have the Chinese Wabi Sabi, which means finding perfection in imperfection. And then we have the Bonafide and also the Deny Yourself and the Black Card and the Strive designs. Everything that we do is to promote the energy of a more positive thought. Now let's get into this so we can finish. In the beginning, Genesis, God created the heavens, then God created the earth. Where did man and woman come from? Man came out of the earth. So man and woman are part of this thing we call the earth. Our skin is the vegetation of the earth. It grows hair on it. It heals itself. You cut the hair, it grows back. It's like the grass of the earth. Our bone is the stone of the earth. If you find something that's deceased, the bone, you can take it and write with the bone just like you write with chalk. I'm relating something and I'm trying to get to a point. Won't take long, God willing. Our blood is the water of the earth, everything that flows within our body, and the body is 75% water. Now, many of you don't know a lot about the supermoon or solar eclipses or lunar eclipses, but anything that affects the earth affects God's creation on the earth. Remember, before there was a meteorologist or someone who could tell you about tornadoes or earthquakes, we already knew when those things were going to happen. That was a part of our genetic makeup and our spiritual connection to God. We lost that. So out of God's mercy, he gives us people who can predict these things, natural disasters, to give us a warning system. Why are we depressed? When the moon comes out, the moon is a dead planet. The moon borrows light from the sun. The moon borrows light from the sun. Now we are in a phase since February 19th of what is called a supermoon. It appears to be bigger than what it is, but the pull from the moon actually pulls the tides up. It keeps the water from leveling out over the earth. There is more water on the earth than there is land. If the sun does not reflect on the moon and the moon does not pull on the water will flatten out and we all would be dead. That is how floods occur. The body is 75% water. So if the moon is pulling on the water of the earth and we are from the earth, then what is the moon doing to us? The moon can pull, as I stated at the beginning, many of us are suffering from sinus infections now, right now. Depression, you're crying one minute, happy the next minute. Many of us feel paranoid, as if though some entity is around us. You can feel that. This is nothing spooky. It's all in the Bible. I would go into it, but you're not going to stay focused long enough to listen. So I'm trying to give you a fast version by God's permission. You can go back and look it up yourself. A part of the earth we are. The moon is now in a phase of what is called a supermoon since February 19th. So you've been feeling depressed, sleepy, anxious, angry, short-tempered, emotional, gout acting up, arthritis acting up, blurred vision from pressure behind the eyes, the moon pulling on the water of the body, 75% water. I'm trying to help some people because reading the post from today, everybody is either angry, upset, or trying to prove a point, not to people, but trying to convince yourself that you are happy when you're miserable. The key to understanding God is to be true to yourself. When you are true to yourself, God answers you. God does not answer you simply with money, health, wealth, nice things. He answers you with the peace of mind. Now, I want to read this real quickly. We're not going to take long. I don't think it's necessary. It says, everything in the earth we should honor. I honor everything. Honor it. Don't worship it. You don't worship man. You don't worship moon, sun, stars. You don't worship holidays or birthdays or zodiac signs. You only worship that spirit that is within you from God. That will bring you a form of peace that you have never felt in your entire life. Right now, you're anxious, you're angry, doubtful, confused, because the moon is pulling on the 75% of the water that's in your body. It's rushing. You're having palpitations. I'm having them right now. Blood pressure is going up. I would advise most people who have blood pressure issues, eye issues, incidents of stroke and heart attacks to seek your physician's counsel on this, because for the next few weeks, that pull will continue. Now, this says honoring the moon reconnects us with the earth, rhythms and our natural cycles. When we are in sync with nature, it is easier to listen to ourselves, which is critical to building a life that actually works for us. Most of us are chasing after everybody else's life, with the exception of our own. You don't have a clue what you are, who you are, what you should be doing, or why you should be doing it, because you're constantly looking out at someone else's life, and that is Satan's plan. Satan's plan is to take you off course And he puts these images in front of you that distract you and I for so long that we remain off course. Now is the time for us to tune back into our original self. So for those of you that are on my post, you've been talking about being depressed. You've been talking about being angry and emotional. You know how television kind of reenacts reality, and we miss it because we see it as science fiction. Usually it's the moon that triggers the werewolf. Usually it's the moon that triggers the vampire, the moon that triggers the Jason, the moon that triggers the Freddy, nighttime that triggers all of these evil and negative energies that we accept in us because we don't know how to reject that. A lot of people are saying the devil is a liar. He is, but we are not strong enough to deflect the lie. We accept the lie. So we accept everything that comes from without of us and reject everything that is within, because we have no way to show ourselves that what we know, what we see, what we feel, we're not strong enough to project that. God made me to project that strength, to project truth, to project what I feel. If I'm depressed, I say I'm depressed. If I lied, I'll say I lied. I don't have a problem with that. But we lie to ourselves by saying that we feel something that we don't. So we are in the cycle now of a super moon. And when the moon pulls on the waters of the earth, if the moon ever stops borrowing light from the sun and stops pulling the water into what is called a tide, the water will level out and everything on earth would be dead. The body, the human body, 75% water. When we are dehydrated, like I am right now, my eyes are red. Underneath my eyes are red. I'm tired. I'm dehydrated because I'm being pulled on. And many of you are being pulled on. So my encouragement is to you. No man can fix this. Only the God energy within yourself can fix it. And it takes a man to call on God. It takes a woman to call on God. We call on our buddies. We call on our homeboys. We call on all of these people. But when you begin to search within yourself, you will begin to be alone. God is going to take all of these people that you thought were your buddies and pals out of your circle, because it's time for you to focus on you. Focus on yourself, feel what you're feeling, understand that there is a purpose for you, but everybody's not going to have the stack of money. You don't know how to handle that. Everybody's not going to have the best car, the best of anything, but there is happiness in what God gives to you. I'm going to say that again. Find the happiness in what God has given to you, because it's not until we're on our deathbed that we realize I spent my whole life being miserable, wanting things that I would never achieve, but never being happy with what God has given. So the moon is pulling, and it's pulling on you to convince you and encourage you to talk to yourself. This is how God operates. He operates by teaching you how to understand yourself. We are connected totally and completely to the earth. You ever notice that anytime they're showing you an Einstein or a smart person, they're sitting under a tree reading a book? You know the story about Jesus Christ and the fig tree? All of these things are relevant to your connection to yourself and to God. You must learn how to study yourself. You cannot stay around people all day, every day, looking for their approval. You can't do that, because they will take it back as soon as they are upset. You'll never find the love of a woman till you find the love of God within yourself. And you must love yourself as an honor to God. Thank you for my flat head in the back. Don't know why you gave it to me, God, but it works for me. My hat fit good. Thank you for my nose, the broadness of it. I don't want to change it, God. Thank you for my eyes. Thank you for what you've given me. Thank you for my mother, even if she's not there anymore. Thank you for my father, even if he was a low-down, dirty dog. If it was not for his sperm, I would not be here. Gratefulness, honor to the things that made you and gave you the opportunity to change things. Only warriors change things. Punks only sit around and indulge in the same thing that's going on every single day. Look, hey, that's what God says. Because Christ did not come to engage in what the Pharisees and Sadducees were doing. He said, think not that I came to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. And when his words got too strong, they said, we got to kill this cat. He's changing the minds of the people. So let us begin to notice the earth, not worship it. Be grateful to God for it. Notice the moon. I'm going to post up a picture that I videotaped of the moon tonight. It's closing down now, but it's closing from the top. The shadow is coming from the top. So it's constantly pulling. It's still pulling. So we're feeling these emotions of distress. And another feeling that we're feeling is of horniness. So it's going to be a lot of babies born in February. And this is the month that they gave us for Black History. So it's all relevant. I encourage all of you to sit down and be quiet with everything off and think and feel the presence of yourself, feel the presence of God, feel the presence of everything around you. And whatever comes into your subconscious mind, do not stop it. Allow it to show itself so you will know who you are, what you are, where you are. You're looking in the wrong direction for God's greatness. You're looking for the person who has all of these material things. That comes later. God promised that. Look for the person who's kept their word. Look for the person who has strived and continued on a path that they said they were on from the time that you have known them. Look for the people who are trying to prove that God is real and that God is concerned. Look for them. Those are the ones most of us need to be following and be encouraged by. Thank you for tuning in. Again, this is my Janami hat. This is the Janami symbol from the Adenka people. This means only God, but God, no one else. And when you find the God within yourself and connect with that God that is the universal God of all things, you will find yourself able to connect with black, white, red, brown, yellow. Don't make a difference as long as we're all talking about God, because there's only one. Thank you for tuning in. This is Brother Johnny. As promised, Jamil Salib Zamir, the 19 report. I had to get this out. Focus on your body and mind now. There is a super moon. It's dwindling, but it is pulling on you. Your emotions are up. Your emotions are down. You're crying. You're smiling. You're happy. You're angry. You're frustrated. You don't know why. Horny. Your heart is palpitating. You have a sinus infection. Your nose is draining. Pressure behind your eyes. Your gout is acting up. All of these things. I encourage us to get out today, and I would encourage you to do the same tomorrow. Get some sunlight, vitamin D. If you can't get the sunlight, get you a good liquid vitamin D. The one thing that most black men are lacking in that causes bone density, cancer, prostate cancer, and everything else, if you get tested, I promise you, after the age of 30 or more, you will be lacking in vitamin D. Can't get an erection, can't keep an erection, get you some vitamin D. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. What's going on, Doug? What's going on, son? Kwame, what's happening? Hey, Ella. Hey, everybody. Listen, right behind me, the latest designs. Again, we're trying to change the energy. You have to be able to change the energy of where you go. When you go somewhere, you want the energy to reflect what you feel. You don't want to become a part of the energy that is there. So thank God when you walk into Walmart. Thank God when you walk over the threshold of someone's home. Thank God when you walk in their restrooms. God, say it. Think it when you walk out of their restrooms. Leave all the negative behind you so that when it is time for you to face what you're facing, it won't be so much that you can't deal with. You won't have to smoke so much marijuana. You won't have to try to balance yourself out with purple and all that other stuff. You won't have to do it. If you have to smoke it, you're smoking it in your leisure, if that's what you do. But it won't be something that you are addicted to. You understand what I'm saying? If you do it, you deal with that on your own. But you won't have to do it. You won't have to take so many prescription drugs. See, people are overdosing because their mind is telling them something that they don't understand, and no one's telling them how to relate to themselves. You have to be able to relate to yourself. You have to be honest. Listen, I did not achieve what I had desired to achieve when I started with life. I didn't achieve it. I feel down about that, but I'm going to keep on this journey and see what God has in store for me. I thank you all for tuning in. Please forgive my face. I didn't shave, got my gray hair up top, the whole thing. I'm almost 50 years old, and I've been doing this since, by God's permission, since I was 19. So I thank everybody for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir. Again, this is the G-Nami. This is the G-Nami top. This set right here is 35 for the shirt and the hat. Behind me, I have the Strive collection. Also the Wabi Sabi, the Bonafide, Deny Yourself, No Ego, the Black Card, and again, the Strive collection. So we're coming strong with the positivity. Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please share it. What's up, Kwame? How you? Good. Pops, son. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. Please share this information because people are suffering on Facebook. I see it. The energy of the social media, Facebook, has shifted to negative. And look at your timeline. Everything's about fake friends, depression, negative things. R. Kelly, the guy from that just faked his own beating. All of these crimes. Someone just died, unfortunately, in Sumter in a car crash going their way to school. It's just so much negative. We gotta regenerate that and begin to see the good in the things that we're doing and begin to reflect that on the things that need to be done. Warriors. We need warriors. Thank you for tuning in.